Hey, beautiful Libra souls. I just had to come to you with this reading because the energy around this situation has been absolutely electric. And I know so many of you have been asking about what happens in his world when you're not there anymore. I've been shuffling these cards for the past hour, and the messages coming through are just incredible. So grab your coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive into what the universe wants to show us about his reality without your beautiful Libra energy in it. Before I even pulled any cards, I could feel this heavy, almost suffocating energy around this person. You know that feeling when something's missing but you can't quite put your finger on what it is? That's exactly what's happening in his world right now, and as I'm connecting with this energy, I'm getting this strong sense that he's finally starting to understand what he lost when you walked away. Let me pull the first card to see what his immediate reality looks like without you. Oh, wow. I'm getting the Four of Swords, and this is so telling, Libra. This card is showing me that his world has become incredibly still, almost stagnant. The Four of Swords represents this forced rest, this period of contemplation, where he literally cannot move forward because something crucial is missing from his life equation. What's fascinating about this card in this position is that it's not showing me someone who's at peace with solitude. Instead, I'm seeing someone who's been forced into this quiet space because all the noise, all the harmony, all the beautiful balance that you brought to his world is gone. The Four of Swords here is like a meditation he never wanted to do, a silence that feels more like punishment than healing. I can see him lying there, physically present, but mentally somewhere else entirely, replaying conversations, replaying moments, trying to figure out where it all went wrong. The swords above him in this card represent thoughts that won't let him rest, thoughts about you, about what he should have done differently, about the void that your absence has created in his daily life. This card is also telling me that he's realized he needs to heal, but he doesn't know how to do it without the person who brought balance to his chaos. You know how Libras have this incredible gift for creating harmony? Well, he's learning the hard way that harmony was never his natural state. It was something you brought into his world, and without it, everything feels off-kilter. Let me pull another card to understand the emotional landscape he's navigating. I'm drawing the Eight of Cups, and this is making my heart hurt a little bit because this card is showing me the aftermath of his realization that he has to walk away from something he thought would last forever. But here's what's interesting about the Eight of Cups in this context. Usually this card represents someone making the difficult choice to leave. But what I'm seeing here is the emotional consequence of someone else making that choice. He's standing in the aftermath of your departure, looking at the empty cups, the empty spaces where your energy used to fill his world. The Eight of Cups is showing me that he's starting to understand that he has to embark on his own spiritual journey now, but it's a journey he never wanted to take alone. I can see him looking at all these achievements, all these things he thought mattered, and realizing they feel completely meaningless without someone to share them with. Not just anyone, but specifically without your Libra energy that could appreciate beauty, that could see the value in what he was building. This card is also revealing that he's going through this profound emotional awakening where he's finally understanding what love actually means. Before you left, love was just a word, just a feeling he thought he understood. But now, in your absence, he's experiencing what it means to miss someone not just as a person, but as the energy that made his world make sense. I'm feeling called to pull a third card about how this is affecting his daily routine, his normal patterns. The card coming forward is the Page of Pentacles, and this is so significant because it's showing me someone who's having to learn everything from scratch. The Page of Pentacles represents new beginnings, but from a place of humility, from a place of recognizing that you don't know as much as you thought you did. In his world without you, he's like a student again, trying to figure out how to do the most basic things. How to make decisions without your input. How to find beauty in ordinary moments without your perspective. How to create stability without your grounding presence. What's really touching about this page energy is that it's showing me someone who's genuinely trying to become a better person, But he's doing it with the painful awareness that this growth is happening too late for the relationship that mattered most to him. The Page of Pentacles is methodical, dedicated, hardworking, but there's this underlying sadness because all this effort is happening in a world where you're no longer present to witness his transformation. This card is also telling me that he's starting to understand practical love, the kind of love that shows up in daily actions, in consistency, in reliability. These are things he took for granted when you were in his life, but now he's learning to value them because he sees how their absence has created this gaping hole in his everyday experience. Now I want to understand what he's learning about himself in this process. I'm pulling the Seven of Pentacles, and oh my goodness, this is such a profound card for this situation. The Seven of Pentacles is all about pausing to evaluate your progress, looking at what you've planted and wondering if it was worth it. In his world without you, he's doing this constant assessment of every choice he made that led to losing you. The Seven of Pentacles shows me someone standing in their garden, looking at what they've grown, and realizing that all their hard work, all their achievements, all their success means nothing if they don't have the right person to share it with. This card is revealing that he's going through this really intense period of self-reflection where he's questioning everything about his priorities, his values, his approach to relationships. The Seven of Pentacles energy is patient but frustrated, hopeful but realistic about how long real change takes. What I find most moving about this card in this position is that it's showing me someone who's finally understanding that relationships require the same kind of careful tending that gardens do. You can't just plant seeds and expect them to grow without water, without attention, without nurturing. And he's realizing that's exactly what he did with your relationship. The Seven of Pentacles is also about having faith in slow growth, in delayed gratification, but there's this bittersweet quality to it because he's learning these lessons in a world where the person who could have helped him grow is no longer there to witness his progress. Let me check what his nights are like. What happens when the distractions of the day fall away? I'm drawing the Hermit, and this card is absolutely breaking my heart because it's showing me the depth of his solitude right now. The Hermit represents wisdom gained through isolation, but what I'm seeing here is someone who's been forced into hermit mode, not by choice, but by consequence. His nights are long, filled with this intense self-examination that's both necessary and incredibly painful. The lantern in the Hermit card represents the inner light that guides us through dark times, but his light right now is fueled by regret and longing. This card is showing me that he's finally doing the inner work that he should have done while you were still in his life. He's examining his patterns, his fears, his ways of avoiding emotional intimacy. The Hermit energy is wise but lonely, enlightened but isolated. What's particularly significant about the Hermit in this reading is that it's showing me someone who's becoming the person you always saw potential for him to be, but he's doing it alone. There's this tragic irony in the Hermit where the very solitude that's teaching him how to love better is also the punishment for not knowing how to love well enough when it mattered. The Hermit is also telling me that he's gaining wisdom about what real partnership looks like, what it means to show up for someone consistently, what it means to choose someone every single day. But this wisdom is coming at the cost of the relationship that could have benefited from it. I need to understand how this is affecting his future planning, his dreams. The card coming forward is the Two of Pentacles, and this is so telling because it's showing me someone who's struggling to find balance without their counterbalance. The Two of Pentacles represents juggling multiple priorities, trying to maintain equilibrium, but what I'm seeing here is someone who's finally understanding that balance isn't something you achieve alone. You were his counterweight, Libra. You were the energy that made his juggling act possible, that helped him prioritize what actually mattered. In his world without you, everything feels precarious. The Two of Pentacles shows me someone who's constantly dropping balls, constantly struggling to maintain stability, because the person who helped him see the bigger picture is no longer there to provide perspective. This card is also revealing that he's trying to fill the void you left with busyness, with more work, with more activities, but nothing is working because none of those things can replicate the specific energy you brought to his life. The Two of Pentacles is about flexibility and adaptability, but he's learning that some losses require more than just adaptation. They require complete reconstruction of how you approach life. What breaks my heart about this Two of Pentacles energy is that it's showing me someone who's finally understanding that the best relationships make life easier, not harder. They provide stability that allows you to take bigger risks, chase bigger dreams, become more of who you're meant to be. And he's realizing he had that with you and didn't recognize its value until it was gone. Let me look at how this is affecting his relationship with others, his social world. I'm pulling the Five of Pentacles, and this card is showing me the emotional and social poverty he's experiencing without your presence. The Five of Pentacles typically represents material hardship, but what I'm seeing here is relational hardship. He's surrounded by people but feeling completely alone because none of them provide the specific kind of connection, understanding, and harmony that you brought to his world. This card is revealing that he's finally understanding the difference between having people around and having the right person around. The Five of Pentacles shows me someone standing outside in the cold, looking at the warm light inside, and he's realizing that your love was that warm light, that sense of home and belonging. In his social interactions now, everything feels surface level, hollow, lacking the depth and meaning that your connection provided. The Five of Pentacles is about feeling excluded, feeling like you're on the outside looking in, and that's exactly what his emotional world looks like right now. This card is also telling me that he's starting to understand what spiritual poverty looks like. It's not about money or material things. It's about lacking the connection that feeds your soul, that makes you feel seen and understood and valued for who you really are. Now I want to understand what hope looks like in his world, if there's any light he's moving toward. The card I'm drawing is the Knight of Cups, and this is giving me chills because it's showing me someone who's finally learned how to lead with their heart. The Knight of Cups represents romantic idealism, emotional bravery, the willingness to pursue love even when the outcome is uncertain. In his world without you, he's becoming the romantic he never allowed himself to be when you were actually there. There's something so tragically beautiful about this timing. This card is showing me someone who's finally ready to be vulnerable, to express emotions, to show up as a true romantic partner. But he's practicing these skills in a world where the person who deserved this version of him is no longer present to receive it. The Knight of Cups is also about following your heart, even when it leads you into uncertain territory. And I can see him finally understanding that love requires risk, requires the willingness to be hurt, requires showing up fully even when you're scared of the outcome. What's most significant about this Knight energy is that it's showing me someone who's learned to value emotional connection over everything else. The Knight of Cups doesn't care about practical considerations when the heart is involved, and he's finally reached that place where he understands that all the logic in the world means nothing if you lose the person your heart recognizes as home. I'm feeling called to pull one more card about the lesson this experience is teaching him. The card coming forward is the Nine of Pentacles, and this is such a complex card for this situation because it represents independence and self-sufficiency, but with a deep awareness of what's missing. The Nine of Pentacles shows me someone who's learned to create a beautiful life for themselves, who's achieved material success, who's developed self-reliance, but there's this underlying loneliness, this understanding that all the abundance in the world feels empty when you don't have the right person to share it with. In his world without you, he's becoming successful, he's growing, he's creating stability, but the Nine of Pentacles has this quality of elegant solitude that feels more like a consolation prize than a true victory. It's like he's created this beautiful garden, but there's no one there to appreciate the flowers with him. This card is telling me that he's learning the difference between being alone and being lonely, between independence and isolation. The Nine of Pentacles represents someone who's learned to enjoy their own company, but there's this bittersweet quality because this self-sufficiency was born out of loss rather than choice. What's most touching about this Nine of Pentacles energy is that it's showing me someone who's finally become the partner he should have been all along. But he's practicing these skills in solitude. He's learned to create beauty, to appreciate the finer things in life, to be present and mindful. But the person who would have loved sharing these experiences with him is no longer there. Let me pull one final card to understand the overall energy of his world without you. I'm drawing the Ace of Swords, and this is giving me such clarity about what this entire experience represents for him. The Ace of Swords represents breakthrough, clarity, truth cutting through illusion. His world without you has become this stark landscape of absolute truth, where he can no longer hide from what he really lost, what you really meant, what love actually requires. This card is showing me someone who's experienced this painful but necessary awakening. The Ace of Swords cuts through all the excuses, all the justifications, all the ways he convinced himself that he didn't need to show up fully for your relationship. Now he sees everything clearly, and that clarity is both liberating and devastating. The Ace of Swords represents new understanding, the beginning of wisdom, but it's wisdom earned through loss. In his world without you, truth has become impossible to avoid. He sees his patterns, his fears, his ways of sabotaging good things. He sees your value, your irreplaceable role in making his life meaningful. This card is also about mental breakthrough, about finally understanding concepts that were previously beyond your grasp. And he's finally understanding what it means to truly love someone, to choose them consistently, to show up for them in ways that matter. But this understanding is coming at the cost of the relationship that could have benefited from it. So here's what I'm seeing in his world without you, beautiful Libra. It's a world that's forcing him to confront every truth he avoided while you were there. It's a world of profound solitude where he's learning lessons that are both necessary and heartbreaking. He's becoming the person you always believed he could be, but he's doing it alone. His days are filled with this constant awareness of your absence, this recognition that you were the harmony in his chaos, the balance in his instability, the beauty in his ordinary moments. His nights are spent in deep reflection, finally doing the inner work that relationships require. He's learning to love in theory while missing the chance to practice it with the person who mattered most. He's developing wisdom about partnership while experiencing the isolation that comes from not having a true partner. The most profound thing about his world without you is that it's teaching him exactly why he needed you in the first place. But this lesson is coming too late for the relationship that inspired it. For those of you going through separation or wondering about someone's world without you in it, I want you to know that sometimes people need to experience loss to understand value. Sometimes they need to feel the absence of your light to recognize how much brightness you brought to their world. His world without you is a masterclass in appreciation through absence, in understanding love through loss, in recognizing home only after you've been locked out of it. If this reading resonated with you, let me know in the comments what you're feeling right now. Are you recognizing some of these patterns? Are you seeing your own situation reflected in these cards? Remember that your worth isn't determined by someone else's ability to recognize it. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is create space for someone to learn what your presence actually meant to their world. Take care of yourselves, beautiful souls, and remember that the universe always has perfect timing, even when it doesn't feel that way.